You know that feeling, right? Your paycheck hits the bank and you think, okay, this is it. This is the month I'm finally gonna get ahead. But then, somehow, bit by bit, it just disappears. So why does saving money feel so completely impossible right now? Is it just you, or is there something much, much bigger going on? Let's get into it. I mean, the intention is always there. That little voice of financial responsibility totally kicks in on payday. It's a brand new month, a clean slate. You probably even make a little plan. You might even move some cash over to your savings account, feeling like you've got this. But then the end of the month rolls around and tells a completely different story. And that's the real question, isn't it? You're doing all the right things, but that balance just refuses to budge. Well, to figure out why, we have to start with the massive gap between what we're told about the economy and what it actually feels like to live in it. This brings us to a pretty new but very real idea that just perfectly describes this feeling. It's not just in your head, it actually has a name. The word is vibesession. It's when you hear the news talking about how strong the economy is, but you look at your own wallet and it's telling you a totally different story. It's this weird crisis of economic perception. And this chart just lays out the divide perfectly. On one hand, the official data says, hey, GDP is growing, inflation is slowing down. But on the other hand, there's your lived reality. Your dollar buys less, groceries are expensive, rent keeps going up, and unless you're deep in the stock market, all those gains feel like they're happening on another planet. So, okay, let's leave the abstract vibe behind for a second and get into the cold, hard numbers of that lived reality. This is the stuff that's actually putting the pressure on, making it so hard to save. Here is a number that really hits home, 3.3% inflation. Now, that's not a feeling. That is a concrete measurement of how much more expensive life has gotten in just 12 months. And what's really wild is where that inflation is coming from. Just look at gasoline, up almost 19%. We're not talking about luxury goods here. This is the fundamental cost of getting to work, of living. And food and housing are right there with it. You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head. It captures that quiet, grinding mental tax. It's that moment in the grocery aisle when you're debating which cereal is 80 cents cheaper, or you're checking your bank app before you buy milk. These tiny little calculations add up to a huge weight on your mind. And then there's the big one, the biggest expense for most of us, housing. Nearly half, 49% of all Americans are struggling to make their rent or mortgage payment. Every single month. I mean, let that sink in. That's 1 out of every 2 people. For a lot of them, 40 or even 50% of their income is gone on day one. So where's the money for savings supposed to come from? Okay, so why not just buy a house and build equity? Well, for most people, the math, it just doesn't work. The typical family makes about 75 grand, but you need closer to 110 grand to actually afford a typical home. That $35,000 gap is why the dream of owning a home feels so completely out of reach. So when all the essential stuff costs more, but your paycheck isn't getting any bigger, something has to give. And for millions of Americans, that something has been taking on more debt just to stay afloat. For a lot of folks, credit cards have become the new safety net. You use them to cover the rising cost of gas or groceries or rent. And sure, it's a short-term fix, but it can spiral into a long-term nightmare really, really fast. And the scale of this is just staggering. Over $1.2 trillion in credit card debt. That number is so big, it's more than the entire economy of some countries. It's this massive weight holding people back, making it impossible to save when so much of your income is just feeding the interest monster. And if we zoom out, you can see that credit card debt is just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. We're talking about almost $19 trillion in total household debt. Yeah. Mortgages are the biggest slice, but when you add in student loans, auto loans, and credit cards, it all combines to create this mountain of financial pressure. Okay, so the economic picture is tough. The pressures are very real, and it is so easy to feel completely powerless. But this is the crucial part. We have to shift our focus from what we can't control to what we can. And let's just be real for a second. The external pressures are not in your head. Economists are saying there's almost a 50-50 chance of a recession. Conflicts overseas are messing with gas prices, and AI is leading to real job losses. You can't personally control any of that. So what can you do? Well, experts pretty much all agree on a 3-step game plan. First, you've got to build that emergency fund. It's your personal shock absorber. Second, put your finances on autopilot. Set up those automatic transfers for savings and debt. Just set it and forget it. And third, and this is probably the most important one for right now, you have to focus on increasing your income. This right here, this is the new reality. The old advice of just stop buying lattes is broken when the cost of everything is shooting up this fast. The most powerful move you can make is to increase what you earn. Upskill, learn new things, make yourself essential. That's the real game changer. And this is so important to remember. If you are finding it hard to save, you are not alone. This is not some kind of personal moral failure. It is a huge systemic challenge that millions of hardworking people are all facing together. So all of this leaves us with a pretty critical question. We've just broken down why saving feels so impossible right now. But if this is the reality today, what comes next? And maybe more importantly, what steps do we all need to take, personally and as a society, to actually be ready for it?